Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my December 2018 book haul part 2. So I've decided to do something a little weird. So I have all the books that I've bought in the last few weeks, but I bought a lot of stuff online so that are not here yet. So I will have one more book haul, part 3. Because again, I'm coming up on, well, now we're into January 2019 and I'm supposed to cut back on my spending. So what do? I have a little freak out moment and I bought a lot of stuff online this last week. Some of that was Christmas money and some other stuff, but mostly I just started getting click happy because I knew that come the 1st, I was not going to let myself do that. So now that we are past that and I'm into January, I'm going to start really tracking much better how much I'm spending. So this is kind of the last big haul before the next one will be a little smaller, but still it'll be too many books. Anyway, so I'm going to do the books that I've bought in the last week or so that came from Goodwill, Amazon, and Marketplace. And then I have 15 books I bought from Powell's. So my dad and I spent New Year's Eve morning at Powell's bookstore downtown Portland, and it was just phenomenal. We spent 2 hours. We got to do, we just went our separate directions and just met up after an hour and a half to check in, and then he went off to do a couple things while I looked at one more thing, and then we met back up, and then we paid and got out, and I used all my gift cards, all my credit, and a little bit over, but I did get 15 books, so that's pretty awesome. But this means that I need to calm it down. So as I said, I'm going to do this book haul, and then I'll do one more for December, and then we should be wrapped up. And then hopefully January will be a much smaller book haul when we get to that one. So let's really go through these. I have quite a bit of books, as I said, like 19, so let's start going. This one I got at Goodwill was And Only to Deceive by Tasha N. Alexander. This is the first book in a mystery series. I'm actually not sure what the series is called, but it follows Lady Emily Ashton. I think that's who it is. Anyway, so she, her husband recently died and she's in mourning, and the story starts out mostly her learning about him because they were not married very long before he died in Africa. I think so they weren't, she didn't know him very well. So she's getting to know him and learning stuff, mostly about Greek art and stuff. So it's kind of interesting. So anyway, I haven't got very far as I just kind of started this, but it's a mystery, and it's one that Kate Howe says is one of her favorites, or favorite new ones. So I don't know. It's the first book. We'll see what happens. I did get my physical copy of Ocean Light by Nalini Singh. This is number, what did I say, 17? Yeah, 17 in the Sigh Changeling series. So I have this on Kindle, but I like to reread them in physical form. I've already reread it Kindle form, but I always buy them. I don't want the hardbacks, so I always wait for paperbacks and buy those then. And I also got The Bullet Journal Method by writer Carol. I did do bullet journaling a little bit last year and the year before, and then I haven't really done a whole lot this year. I mean, except for a couple of my little, like, reading logs and other things. And I'm going to continue doing some of those for my stat videos. But I want to do a few more things. And I just thought I'd get his book and kind of introduce myself to it. I don't usually need to do all the bullet journal stuff because my life is not quite that chaotic. And also, I'm a scheduler by trade, so my brain already does those kind of things, but it might be nice to list things out or have a place to put those lists. So I'm going to try to play around with that again. I thought I'd get his book to kind of re-get into it. I mean, I've watched a lot of videos, but you know. And then I also got from Marketplace, They Were Counted by Miklos Bandiv. I think this is translated from the Hungarian, I believe, by Patrick Thorsfield and Cataline Bandiv Jeline, I think. Anyway, I just know it's about Hungary pre-1914. I think it's following two families and the things that go on in that time period during for the Austro-Hungarian Empire. again, it's like a trilogy and they're all huge like this. I saw this on Helene Jeppensen's channel, so I have been intrigued since she talked about it. So I finally got the first one at least to try out before I get the rest of them. Well, hopefully we'll like that. I just love those kind of epic stories, so we'll see what happens. Now we'll go into my Powell's books. The first ones are my nonfiction. I got The Rival Queens, by Nancy Goldstone, and this is about Catherine de Medici and her daughter Marguerite de Valois and the betrayal that united a kingdom. So this is in France in the 1570s, 1580s, and it has to do a lot with religious, between the Protestant and Catholic, or the Calvins and the Huguenots, or I don't know, the whole thing. I don't know enough about it. Anyway, but Catherine does a lot of things that maybe are a little questionable, and uses her daughter in some ways. So I just, but also she does stuff too, so I'm not sure. It just sounded fascinating, and I had read about this a little bit because their names came up in Alexandre Dumas' The Three Musketeers in one of the notes, and or in his story, and then they had some notes about it, and I'm like, oh, who are those? And I Googled it and found this book, and then just a few days ago I saw another writer that I follow, M.L. Brennan, was talking about this book, and she was reading it and thought it was fascinating, so I'm like, I'm buying that book. That's how that happened. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. I also got Shirley Jackson, A Rather Haunted Life by Ruth Franklin. So this is a book on Shirley Jackson's life. I don't know anything about her at all. I don't know why I picked this book up, and I can't remember if somebody else had got it and I just, during Nonfiction November, or I saw it when someone mentioned it. But it was on my list to get, so I thought it just sounded so fascinating, and I don't know enough about her, and I also want to read more of her books this year, so I want to read all the books. What am I talking about? But it just sounded really cool. It's a really thick book, actually. I was kind of surprised. I did buy a new copy of Helter Skelter, The True Story of the Manson Murders by Vincent Balagosi and Kurt Gentry. This, I have a copy that I bought back in like 92. Yeah. Anyway, I read it back then, and it's a really old little paper, you know, mass market paperback, and I really was looking to to get a new copy because I want to reread it this year, because it's 50 years from when it happened in August. So I'm probably gonna. I did get the audiobook also with one of my credits, so I'm probably gonna listen to it. But I wanted to get a new copy anyway because. And again, it has the pictures, and it, you know, or it does somewhere. I know they're in here. My little, I can't think. There they are. They're like, you know, they're like pictures and stuff in there. Anyway, I just wanted to reread that, and so I got a new copy, and my dad's like, oh, look, I think he wants to read it after me. Because he knows I read it all those years ago, because, anyway. But anyway. And then I also got Georgiana, Duchess of Devonshire by Amanda Foreman. And I don't exactly know why I picked this up, but I believe it's because I saw something that she's like one of the ancestors of Princess Diana, but there was another connection to it, and I don't remember what it was. I know it's something with political and stuff, and it's like the 1770s and 80s and 90s of, into 1800s, in England. So I don't actually know what this is really about. I just hear it's a really great biography, so I got it. I don't actually know why or where I heard that. If you remember, let me know. And then the other books I got are all the fiction books I got at Powell's. So the first one is The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. This is a historical romance, and it has to do with two characters, the Duke and the woman, who are, like, I think they've been friends, or his, you know, and so they pretend to be together so that she can get a better offer and he doesn't have to get married because everybody thinks he might propose to the other one. So, and of course everything goes the wrong way when they, you know, start to have feelings for each other. Anyway, it sounds cute. I don't know who I saw that on, but I had it on my list for quite a while. I don't know. But my mom already wants to borrow it. The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. So I've heard a lot of good things about this, and a lot of people mentioned this book by her. It has to do with a man who goes to mail a letter, but then decides to walk wherever he's going to go see his friend. Not sure how that all works out for him, how much walking he's doing. I think he has to go quite a distance too. But it sounds like it's a good exploration of older person looking back on their life and stuff, and I kind of think that would be kind of an interesting read. I got My Soul to Keep by, I can never say her name, Tana Reevdu. I don't know, guys. So this is the first book in, I believe, the African Immortals. And I have the second book, The Living Blood, which I did not know was a series until one of my viewers, thank you for telling me that I needed the first book. And it makes more sense now why when I started that book back when I got it many, many years ago, that I didn't understand what was going on. So I'm going to try to read this book first before I read that one, so that I can try to read the series that I've had one of the books on my shelves for over almost 20 years. So, but it's like a horror. I know it has to do with an immortal man and the woman I think he falls in love with, and he wants to make her immortal as well. And I don't think that goes so well, or there's other people who don't want that. Other than that, I don't know anything about it. I'm pretty sure it's horror. I also picked up Himself by Just Kid. I don't know a lot about this, but I did see a lot of this on Simon at Savidge Reads. This one is, I don't know what the guy's name is here. But he was given up for adoption. He thought, his mother had just given up because she didn't want him, but it might turn out that something happened to her instead. And so he goes back to the town, and it shakes it all up and about what might have happened. I don't know. He just liked all her books, so I got this one, and I think I got the other one, The Hoarder, coming from Book Depository. But anyway, you'll see in the next haul. I got The Anatomist, I don't know how you say that word, guys, wife, by Annalee Herber. This is the first book in the Lady Darby mystery series. This has to do with a woman, looks like in Scotland, 1830. She's taking, her husband has just died, so I'm sure she's in mourning, and she's supposed to be kind of hiding out from society because of the mourning period. Anyway, but something happens and somebody dies, and so she's kind of asked to help look into something, even though it could cause a scandal because she knows some stuff I guess her husband did or something. I don't know. I saw it on Kate Howell's as well, so I wanted to try that series, mystery series. I don't know. It sounds interesting. I also got The Family Tree by Susan Wiggs. This is a more contemporary story about, I think, a woman has pretty much everything, just she loses everything, her her family and success and home, I think, and she goes back to her family back in Vermont from California, because she was in, I think, California, and then she moves back to Vermont. I think it was Vermont. Yeah, Vermont. Which, again, I'm attracted to anything in Vermont right now because I went and visited there just recently. But anyway, so it's like a family thing where she's getting back on her feet, and I'm sure I think there was a second chance love story. I'm not sure, but it sounded really good. I think I saw it on Bree Hill. Pretty sure that was on one of her lists of for romances and stuff. I also picked up Snakewood by Adrienne Selby. So this has to do with, I believe it's like some mercenaries, did all this stuff, and then they stop, their glory days, it's over, they've all split up, and then they are suddenly being hunted down by somebody else. And I don't know how this goes, like if we're following one or more characters from that group. I don't know. I just picked this up on a whim. I had this on my list a long time ago, and then I forgot about it. I don't know what happened on that. And then I saw his new book, The Winter Road, and it looked fascinating. I'm like, oh, I want that book. And then I think this book takes place in the same world. I don't think they're technically connected. I'm not positive, but maybe I'm reading that wrong. But this was his first book, and I thought I'd go with this one because the other one was hardback, and I wasn't going to buy it. So I bought his other book. So if you've read that, let me know. I don't know enough about that one. I also picked up The Ghost Bride by Yangzi Chu. And this one, I don't know where I heard about this, but all I know is that it had to do with Malaya in 1893. I think this woman is kind of married off to another family to be a ghost bride for their son that had died, so that she joins their family. And I'm not sure how that all... so she's because this doesn't happen very often, I guess, anymore at this time period. I don't know. But it's kind of weird. But she, I think she is drawn in some, it says a parallel world of the Chinese afterlife with its ghost cities and vengeful spirits. So I don't know what's going on in this. So it just sounded really weird because, again, you're marrying a guy who's dead. Or, you know, he died under mysterious circumstances, but still. So I think she dreams of him or something or other, or all these other ghost things. But it just sounded very fascinating. And I want to read that. And I need a drink. And then I got The Devil of Nanking by Mo Hader. I don't know really what this is about. I've just heard other people talk about this author and that this was a really good one. And again, I think it's, I'm pretty sure it's a thriller, but it has something to do with the Nanking massacre and something's going on. I don't know. Do you guys know? I don't know. It's been on my list for too long. I don't even remember anymore. And looking at the back, I'm kind of like, I don't remember. But it sounded fascinating. So you guys will have to let me know if that's a really good one. And then the last one is The Incarnations by Susan Barker. I just saw this again on abookolive's channel. And I had this on my list a long time ago, and I'd forgotten about it, actually. And maybe it was when it was still in hardback. I don't remember. Or when she maybe first read it. Long time ago. And then, but she mentioned it again on her best of 2018 video. And I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to read that. So this has to do with Beijing taxi driver starts receiving mysterious letters. And it's telling him, saying that they're his soulmate and that they've lived these past lives. And there's some reason why they keep living lives and why this time has to be different or something. I'm not sure. But it sounds fascinating and I'm looking forward to that. So, those are all the books that I bought in the last week or two. Oh, man. Yes, I need to curb my book buying. I am going to do a scary thing probably in the next day or so. I'm going to count all my unread books. And I think I need to see that number because I know how many books I bought this last year. I don't think I understand how many books are unread on my shelf. And I need to look at that to kind of get a situation in my mind of why I don't need to buy everything. I don't need to borrow from the library as much as I have been, as much as I love my library. I mean, don't get me wrong. Clearly, I keep getting things from the library. So that number will be interesting, and I'll probably tell about that in my stats video for the year when I get to that point. Anyway, so are any of these books you think I should bump up on my TBR? Is there anything you think I should read right away? Let me know. Or if you have any information about them that you think I should know, I would appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.